Yo, 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 yo. Oh my god, bro, it is finally here. The second tutorial. By the way, my bad if I'm being kind of quiet during this tutorial or like not having as much energy. I'm just not home alone and it is like late, so I'm trying to not be loud and still kind of and still trying to record this tutorial. So yeah, this tutorial was a pain in the ass to mix. I didn't mix it for mix. What? This tutorial was a pain in the ass to make. Of course I had a fucking voice crack. This tutorial was a pain in the ass to make. Not even like in an editing type of way. I mean, I still spent a lot of time editing, but I've run into some absolutely ridiculous issues when I tried to export it. I don't know if the file was like too golden. Premiere kind of tried to hold me back from like exporting it, or it was too ass. I'm really glad I somehow found a way to fix it. It is absolutely not normal. Premiere, you need to fix your fucking program. So yeah, this is how this is how the beat sounds like. So yeah, let's get straight to it. Let's get to the tutorial. Пошел нахуй. The first thing I did was I made this lead. It was inspired by a song, and I don't want to show the song because it'll probably get a copyright, so you'll just have to guess. I layered it with this lead. So as you can see, just a little bit of a different pattern. It just kind of harmonizes together better. And then I made a chord progression around these like leads. And then I just did some layering and added a little bit of like more notes. As you can hear, it's really like ambient and like full. That's what I was kind of going for. I wanted it to be like really like vibey and nice. Basically the same chords, but a little bit of different adjustments. And then I added this synth, which I made kind of like bounce. And this one like really starts to give it like some bounce. And also I forgot to mention, did like an automation for this pattern. It has a low filter effect, so it's like this. And it starts playing when the chorus part comes in. It just gives more bounce. And then I added these brass kind of strings. I don't know what it's called, but like together it sounds like this with the leads. And then I added this kind of like 80s synth kind of thing. Then I added kind of like a bonus lead. Okay, and then I added this PV for president, but I made it like kind of unique. So it sounds really over the place when it's solo, but if you listen to all the melodies together, it really starts to like sound really nice and full, like harmonizing. Okay, and then Блять, ёбаный. Okay. Okay, and then I decided to add another bonus like synth. And then it just repeats. So everything together in the chorus part sound like this. So you can like just hear the bounce immediately even without any drums. In the verse part, I decided I need some type of like a different pattern, like variation, you know, so it evolves into something different. Like this is a really simple lead, but I just love how it sounds. I'm gonna play the full pattern because it's actually like this long. I decided to not use the first part. Jesus Christ, I just love this like pattern. And by the way, I made this lead in Purity. I combined basically two of these sounds, and then I like adjusted the panning, messed with the chorus a bit, and that's about it. And then I added a guitar. Yeah, so the kind of like weird pitch sound was made by hand, and this shit. Actually don't recommend using this because it's really like non-practical. I don't know, like it's so uncomfortable to use this, and it works like shit. I'm not even gonna lie. But somehow I made it work. So the full melody in the verse part sounds like this. Okay, so now let's go through the drums. As usual, you always start with the bass. I just really love this sub because it has like a really nice deep kind of sound when it goes really low. Like it kind of goes like stereo, it's so fire. And then you just start to lay really basic 2000's swag type of drum pattern. So for those who don't know how this is made, basically start with the kick and the shaker. You kind of figure out this bounce. I kind of had to like mess around with the shakers. Basically the first one is like 1/4, whatever is this, like /4. So it's like in beat, and then it's kind of off. It's because it's in the triplets, like in the 1/3 beat. So yeah, it took me a bit to kind of figure out the bounce. Then you just copy paste it over like this and it should be good. Really like really groovy, you know. Then you add the clap. You can already like hear the swag. A little bit of like shaker / tambourines. Then I really like those old R&B kind of, I don't know what this called, like shaker sound effects. Really nice. And another tambourine. It kind of works similarly like I usually do with the triangles, but this time I decided to use tambourines, and this is like just like a smooth, groovy type of feel. And another tambourine. For these beats, I really suggest you use this type of like kind of ride, not the like R&B crashes, because this one gives the specifically like that swag. Then I enhance the swag with the different interesting sound effects I just randomly found. Really like to use like those gaps and like some type of transitions. And that's literally it. Okay, so in the mixing part, I added basically this EQ. Removed some of the sounds because it was kinda in the way of other instruments. That's what I felt like. And then I added this stereo shaper, just messed with the phase a little bit and made it more in the stereo, more wide. So without any effects, it sounded like this. You can hear it has a different character, even like such small adjustments, but makes a decent difference. Then we have the second pad, felt like it needs more brightness. Remove some of the low end. As you can see, I didn't like aggressively cut the low ends. I just reduced a little bit of those frequencies. You can hear it's a little bit muddy. Now it's more clear. Then we have this instrument. Let's break it down. First I added distortion. It kind of shatters it a little bit. More distortion. Low filter. This effect is applied only in this first chorus part. I don't know why, I just felt like it gives more bounce at the start. Added some fresh air. And a little bit of EQ. And as you can see, again, I didn't remove the low end. You just lose a lot when you aggressively cut low end. Sometimes you can actually get away with not cutting the low end and getting a more full sound. So that's what I kind of learned. Less is actually like more. The less you cut, the more you kind of get, you know? Because like the designers of these instruments, they probably like already made it pretty much decent, you know? Your job is to like decide a good sound selection, you know? Then we have the synth. Without any effects. So barely hearable difference. A little bit of cutting here and there and boosting. Then we have the string pad. Yeah, so it sounded like this. I just wanted it to be like kind of synth sounding, not as much as like string sounding. So I boosted a lot of high end, removed a little bit of low end, added reverb, imager. This spreads the lower frequencies of the sound. Kind of more stereo. Added another EQ, stereo enhanced, really like shifted the phase. Like the phase shifting helps with, sometimes it's just like when there's like too much similarly sounding sounds, when you kind of phase offset, it makes another, almost like a room for a different instrument. So I kind of started messing with that. And then I added more high end with the fresh air. Then you have the brass blocks kind of. And there's nothing special, just EQ. So this actually sounded more synth-like, so I wanted it to be more string-like, you know. I don't know, it kind of sounds more like strings, like brass. I don't know how to explain it. Really, it's just by ear kind of adjusting all this. Okay, so the first pattern of the main like leads, without any effects, sounded like this. So it already has like a delay, pretty nice delay that I liked, so I didn't add any more delayed effects. I just kind of messed with the sound itself. Remove the low frequencies. First things first, I removed the low frequencies and a little bit of high end, so it's kind of more present in these frequencies, and these ones that are not that satisfying and not that necessary, just remove them. Added chorus for wideness. Room, so it's like more epic. A little bit of like scoop. And a little bit of dynamic scoop here. And then we have the second layer, which only has this EQ, you know. Because it's a layer, I didn't want it to be really like present, so I removed the frequencies that makes it like pop out, and it's more kind of background. So now it's like kind of just fills more the like main lead. Then a bonus synth, a little bit of like EQ adjustment in the bonus synth. Just removed unnecessary low end. For the PV, without anything, it sounded like this. So I made it more stereo, a little bit pan. Sometimes it helps when you just shift a little bit in the bands. It you can kind of start to hear it more. Added delay. So let's start from the like beginning. So even though it has a delay, this one adds it even more, so it's like kind of chaotic and it sounds really good. This EQ. Sound Godizer, just a little bit of the A1. And then the stereo enhancer, which like as you can hear it makes it much louder and much more present. For the synth, just added hyper chorus and some reverb. So without anything, it already sounded pretty decent, but I decided to add these just to fit it better. I listened to everything together and tried to make small adjustments. The best way actually to show it will be show how they like impact each other together. So this is how they sounded without any effects. As you can hear, it's a chaos, you know. This is why you use all these effects to kind of make place for each instrument. Then for this instrument, I really just added EQ, removed the low end, didn't like how harsh it sounded, so I removed this. Added delay. Again, stereo enhancer, just love this plugin. Okay, so then we have this absolutely insane guitar. And so basically I used the preset that one of my homies sent me. Shout out Dom/Vaisu. Absolutely underrated. YouTube is just ignoring the goated prods in this community. Like, so I used this preset, kinda adjusted it by my preference, and let's go step by step. So first thing, we have this stereo enhancer. So you can hear it kinda shifts all the sounds into a different place in your ears. Then we have this EQ. Removes all the mud, boosts the high end so it's more crispy, you know. Really huge reverb. A little bit of delay. Another huge reverb. You can just hear how all the like harsh kind of clipping sounds just disappeared when I added this suit. Like, listen before. Still there a little bit, but it's so much better. Like, it removes so much of the harsh spike sounding sounds. Like guitar D-spec, you know, says it all. Now we have the drums. Sub just made it wide. I don't know why, I really liked it how it sounded like wider, especially in the low ends. Like, you can hear it kind of like starts to go really wide. Just like how it sounded. Routed the kick and it sounded punchy, sounded nice, so I didn't really mess with that. I wanted the clap to be really reverb and like really epic, so reverb, EQ, boost the high ends, fresh air, more high end boost, and hyper chorus just a little bit. Shaker added just like pans in the ears, kind of more gives like more groovy type of sound. Open hat, again, use the same thing that I do with melodies. If I want it to be more hearable, I just shift it either right or left ear. Then we have this 90s shaker. Already sounded good. I just wanted it to be more reverb, so Again, reverb and the stereo. Tambourine shifted a little bit to the right. This has nothing, this has nothing, and this has nothing. Drum instruments go to these sidechains. All the sounds go through one specific channel and then they kind of sound more glued together. I'm not even sure. I just kind of experiment. The difference is really like you can feel the difference, but you can't hear the difference. So sometimes with like large projects, I just experiment which one sounds better for the vibe of the beat, or like how it just in general sounds. You know, you gotta always generalize it. You gotta listen how everything together sounds, not how it sounds like in soloing. So these main leads are sidechained to this channel that only has Soundgodizer. This one is pretty much like there's nothing on this one. I know this has a lot of like channels, but these are basically just so when I export the track out, it exports everything separately in different stems. If you want the artist to have control of every single sound, you need to have every single sound in the mixer. Last thing we have is the master. So we just have the standard soft clipper, a little bit of boost. Really depends on how loud you want the mix to be. I just felt like I can boost it a little bit more and get a little bit of more loudness. This standard equalization, these are like artistical. So low filter. A little bit of sauce is the fruity mute. So you basically mute it right before the kick hits and it gives like a pause and the kick feels more punchy. Like I really like this, and also I discovered this kind of sauce automation. Go here, you remove the trigger to 0 and slow down is by default 0.23. Click on it, now you press A, and then you'll have these two automations, and you basically set this to 23. So you can see at the top of the screen it says 23. Then you go to this one, adjust it to 12. Then you right click on this once, and then you just remove these, and then you make points for trigger 1 and you just set it to max, and it gives like a really smooth like slow down effect. It sounds so good. Yeah, that is the wall beat. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of editing. We'll see how it goes, and yeah, thank you. Take care of yourself. I'm really glad the channel incident ended up with a good ending. And yeah, anywho, take care, and I love you, and you are the best. Goodbye.